Good afternoon, everybody. It's Ron Harris, MD Online Editor, coming to you on a very, very beautiful, sunny Sunday afternoon here in Massachusetts. Hope it's nice wherever you guys are. This is a video that I did the other day live. However, there was an error, not on my part, and it got deleted. So I'm doing it over again. So if you watched it live before, thank you. I guess you don't have to watch it again. But it's going to be a little different. I'm talking about the upsides to the quarantine situation as they pertain to bodybuilders. There aren't too many upsides in general to the quarantine, but we do have to try to look on the bright side of things, look at the positives in this situation, and there actually are some positives to our gyms being shut down. And on that note, it is April 19th right now today. And it's looking like some states may open up gyms at the end of this month, April 30th. 30 days has September, April, June. Yeah, April 30th, some states will be opening their gyms. Nothing's been announced official. I wish I could tell you which gyms, which states are going to do it. I have no idea. Massachusetts, where I live, we've heard nothing. Very likely scenario, May 15th, maybe May 30th. Some negative Nellies are trying to tell me things like it's not going to be till July, August, September. Shut up. I don't want to hear that. Anyway, I'm here to talk about the upsides to this situation. None of us can go to gyms. Some of you people have some sick home gyms. I'm very envious. It's oddly, a lot of the women out there have really crazy gyms, which I assume, I don't know how you got them, but good for you guys. But one thing about not having a gym to go to, for one thing, you're saving a lot of time. You have more time on your hands to do other things. I don't know what you're doing with that time, but personally, I would take, it was about a half-hour drive for me to the gym, half-hour back. So that was an hour out of my day, probably about 5, more realistically 6 days a week, spending driving to and from the gym. So right there, that was six or more hours a week that I didn't have to be productive with anything else. And now I'm training at home with my limited equipment. I have that extra time. One thing about having extra time, even for your training, that's good, is that a lot of us put off different aspects of our training that are important, but we sort of shuffle them off to the side because we get to the gym after driving for however long, change up in the locker room, put our stuff away, go to the bathroom, wash our hands. By the time we get out there and start training and get our weight training workout done, we know there's other things we should be doing, such as calves. A lot of us skip calves. I don't, but I know a lot of people do. Just because they'll get toward the end of a leg session and they'll be thinking, it's already 7 o'clock at night. I got to get going. I got to go. There's abs. A lot of us, me, I definitely skip ab training. Ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, I never had time for abs. All right, full disclosure, I'm still not doing abs right now, even though I have the time. I don't want to train abs. Stretching. You should all be stretching after your workouts. I remember talking to Logan Franklin just last week. Logan is a classic physique pro, formerly men's physique pro, spends an hour to 2 hours every day stretching. I don't think that's necessarily necessary. I don't think you need to stretch for 2 hours a day. I don't know if anybody really does, but we should all be stretching for at least 10 minutes a day. After your workout, I would stretch out all the major areas, quads, hams, glutes, hips, lower back, shoulders. We need to keep limber. We need to keep flexible so you don't lose that. But because we were at the gym, doing our weights on top of everything else, talking to people, going back and forth to the bathroom, we just never had time for these things. Cardio. How many of you guys skip cardio just because you got to the end of your weight training, which took probably a lot longer than it should have? Stretch between sets, Patrick. That's, you could do it that way. I'd rather wait till the whole workout is done, personally. It's a matter of personal preference. I really like to do my weights, do my cardio, then go over the stretching area while everything's nice and warm. Stretch everything out then. That's how I like to do it. If you want to do it between sets, but I'd rather wait till I'm done with the weight training. For me, it just feels like I get more out of it. It's more productive. Talking about just something as simple as going to the bathroom. I go to a very big gym. It's 45,000 square feet. Obviously, I'm not going now. Called Bayshore Athletic Club, Braintree, Mass. Great gym, one bathroom, one locker room, and one bathroom. So, I'm 50 years old. I have to urinate a lot more frequently than I did when I was 20 years old. So, 2 or 3 times during a 90-minute workout, I'll probably have to go use the restroom, go urinate. And that's entails walking all the way from one end of the gym to the other, unless I was in that first room. But the main room I like, which has all the squat racks and all the heavy dumbbells and stuff, that's in a much larger room. It's a little ways. It's a little walk from where the locker room and the bathroom is. So I'm saving that time because right now I'm training in a little tiny room that used to be the kids' playroom when they were little. And then my daughter, who's a DJ Groove Baby, she turned that into a DJ room while she was here. Her and her husband moved out a few months ago. So now that's our workout room. That became our workout room during this quarantine. And it's right next to the bathroom. So I literally go out the door, pee if I have to pee, wash my hands, come back in and continue training with what I missed, 2 seconds. Just having the basics. That's another upside to the quarantine is, believe me, guys, I love all those machines. I love the hammer strength machines, Nautilus, Icarian, Cybex, Body Masters, you name it. I love machines. There's a lot of machines that I love. I love the way they feel, the way they hit the muscles. And not having access to those sucks. It really does. But there is a lot to be said to just having the basics. The basics never go out of style. What's up, General Butt Naked? What a name this guy has. So the basics are something that a lot of us get away from because we have all these other options, all these cool machines and all these cables. So we get away from basic barbell and dumbbell movements, or at least for a large portion of our workout, we're not using those. Right now, that's all I have. I just have dumbbells. So everything I'm doing is based on dumbbells, pretty much. Dumbbell rows, dumbbell presses, lateral raises, rear laterals, upright rows, curls, extensions, skull crushers. It's all being done with dumbbells, and I just have 3 sets of dumbbells. And you really learn to master those if you've been away from them for a while. I never completely got away from free weights. I don't think too many of you guys did, but I certainly relied a lot more on machines. I love the machines, but there's definitely something to be said for just having the basic raw free weights to work with. They definitely give you results. They definitely work, quote unquote. I can say that for sure because I haven't lost anything. I haven't lost any muscle. I'm still ranging, depending on how many meals and water and all that and how many dumps I've taken that day. My weight will range anywhere from 221 to 225 throughout the night. And it was actually less than that before the quarantine. I was down to, I think I hit a low, and I was a little bit leaner, but not much leaner. I think I hit a low of about 215 at one point a couple months back. I was definitely eating a lot cleaner. I wanted to get lean for the Arnold because have that narcissistic streak. Ron Swole. So I leaned out for that for sure, but I'm not much fatter. I don't have much more body fat now than I did then. And I'm not going to go into the gear stuff, but I'm definitely not on more gear. I'm actually on less, very, very minimal. TRT plus a tiny, tiny bit more. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Don't ask me. I'm not going to tell you. Remember, gear questions go to Ask Dr. Testosterone. That is on this channel, Muscular Development's YouTube channel. Every Tuesday, we drop a new video where I take your questions that you put in the comments for Dr. George Touliatos over in Athens, Greece. I call him up on Skype at 8 in the morning here, which is 3 p.m. over in Athens, and we answer all your questions. So if you guys have any gear questions, that's where to put them. One other thing about another upside to this quarantine situation is you guys are getting a lot better, whether you know it or not. Except I'm leaving out of this discussion the people that have the sick, awesome home gyms. I've seen some people with setups that are so good I wouldn't even bother going to a gym if I had a setup. I see people that have squat racks, benches, all kinds of rows of dumbbells, all kinds of free weights, Smith machines. Some people even have a lot of people have that cable set up. And there are some people who even have a few machines, like hammer strength machines, in their home gym. God love you guys. I mean, I wish I had that. I don't. But, dealing with just a limited amount of weight, in my case, the heaviest weight I have is a pair of 70-pound dumbbells. Not that I'm super strong anymore or I need super heavy weight, but this forces all of us to get the most out of what we have. You hate me? The power rack? Ah, yes, I hate you. Leg extension, leg curl. No, I'm not doing much for legs butt naked. I'm not. I'm skipping a lot of leg days because I should have been skipping a lot of leg days. My legs, my quads in particular, are so far ahead of my upper body. It's not because I train them any harder. It's just genetics. I trained them very hard, but they responded so much better than pretty much anything on my upper body. Chest always responded well. Things like traps. Shoulders used to be a lot bigger when they were healthier, but man, it's quads. Quads for sure are the one thing that just, if I train them hard, they blew up. So about every week or 8 or 9 days, I'm doing some dumbbell squats for quads. That's it. Riding the bike for cardio. I have an indoor stationary bike and ergometer. But you're learning how to get more out of the less weight, making it feel better. So you're really squeezing the muscle, working on your mind-muscle connection. And if you had very heavy weights, you didn't really have to do that. And you may not have been getting a really good mind-muscle connection because it's hard to do with very heavy resistance, if you've noticed. You can push up all kinds of weight, but are you really feeling the muscle work? Are you really squeezing the muscle, feeling it stretch on the way down, contract? Are you? If it's very heavy weight, the answer is probably no. So having more moderate weights at your disposal, and that's your only option, it forces you to get more out of that weight by really emphasizing the mind-muscle connection. Here's another thing, guys. Nutrition. A lot of you did not have time, or you use the excuse, I don't have time, to eat right, to eat like a bodybuilder is supposed to eat. And that is the hardest part of bodybuilding is nutrition. Guarantee you, by far. Everybody loves to train, everybody. Everybody loves to go to the gym and lift weights, pump iron, get a nice pump and sweaty and look good, look in the mirror. Everyone loves that. But who wants to eat 5 to 6 meals every day? Who wants to cook all that food? Because I cook all my own damn food. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you have a servant that does that for you. The Joker, share a protein ice cream recipe. Okay, well, you guys can read that there. Because I can't read that fast. Thank you, Joker, for that recipe. So yeah, I tell people how to eat. Say this is the type of foods you need to eat. They're like, okay. And I say, and this is how often you need to eat every day. You need to eat every 2 to 3 hours. You need to get 5 or 6 meals down. And 9 times out of 10, that's where I lose most people. They said, nope, I don't have time for that. I'm not gonna do. I can't do that. I can't do that. Pull down. Yeah, I mean, if I had a cable, that'd be awesome. Yeah, you're welcome, General Butt Naked. So I lose a lot of people there because they're just not willing. They say they don't have time. And you know what? Legitimately, I know a lot of people, they don't have time. They have demanding jobs where they're either driving around all day or it's just unpredictable. They might have to answer calls or do this or that, and they can't stop and eat a meal when they want to. There's a lot of jobs where you don't have that luxury. Sometimes a lot of jobs you have to work straight through for hours and hours with no break. So even if you don't even have 30, you don't have a minute to even get a shake with some jobs. I recognize that. But now a lot of you guys, unfortunately, are out of work or you're barely working because the whole economy's freaking shut down unless you're an essential worker. So you do have time now, not only to eat those meals, but to meal prep, to cook all that, which is another huge objection. People say, I don't know, when am I going to make all this food? You know, most people were doing it. If they did it, they would do it like on a day off. Well, for a lot of people, every day is a day off now. So it's not the ideal situation. I'm not saying it's a good thing that anyone's out of work or has all this extra time on their hands, but if you have some equipment at home and you want to work on your physique, get something constructive, positive, and healthy done during this time, you do have the time now to cook the right foods and eat the right foods. Whereas before, you didn't. And you had excuse, and it might have been a legitimate excuse, but now, no. What's the excuse now, guys? You have time on your hands. You can make the food. You just have to, I'm hoping you can all afford your food. What else, guys? What else? So here are some things that are going to be better about going back to the gym, whenever that is. Some of you guys are going to be back to the gym, it looks like in like 11 days. Longest I've been on gear straight for, my man. Okay, so my body doesn't produce testosterone anymore because I ran gear for so long. The longest ever blast, so I blast and I cruise. I don't say TRT because true TRT is done with a doctor's supervision, which I did do for a few years until this became a lot more expensive and I realized I could just do this on my own. So TRT, true TRT, guys, and this term gets bastardized all the time. True TRT is just using enough testosterone to put you into high normal range of free and total testosterone. For most men, all it takes is 100 to 200 milligrams of testosterone a week to do that. No other drugs, no GH, no Anavar, no nothing else. So I have to run for cardio. Yeah, I hate running unless someone's pointing a gun at me. I'm not going to run. So that's true TRT. What I do is a little more than that. I do 200 milligrams every fourth day of test. No GH. Send me your GH, guys. I don't have the money for GH. I'm putting my son through college. But there are times of the year where I will add on. A full disclosure, I do a half cc of DECA every fourth day, which is 100 milligrams of DECA. So it comes out to 400 milligrams of test every 8 days, a little more than a week, and 200 milligrams of DECA. Very, very conservative, very conservative. I get blood work done. I get heart tests done. I have all the screening. I have all my medical screenings done. My body tolerates this very well. I'm in very good health. Thank the Lord. I'm not advocating that dose for anybody else. It's what I do, and I'm able to stay very healthy on it. It's enough to where I feel good. I look good. I look the way I want to look. I carry enough muscle. I'm not huge, but I'm a little bigger than I would be without it for sure. And I was a natural bodybuilder. I trained naturally for 12 years before I touched anything. So I do know all about natural training and how to train without drugs. The longest I ever ran a cycle, a blast with, larger amounts of everything would be 16 weeks. I did 16-week cycles many, many times over the years. I never stayed on longer than that on large amounts. That just didn't make sense to me. It just seemed reckless because I always knew I wanted to be in this for the long term. And I knew I didn't want to die young, and I didn't want any major health problems, especially because, I became a dad, fairly young in life. Not that young. I mean, some of you guys were like teenagers. I was 24 when my daughter was born, and just turned 30 6 days before my son was born. And I lost my dad when I was 16, so I know what it's like to grow up without a dad, and I didn't want that for my kids. I was never going to do anything that would jeopardize the length of my life. That being said, am I going to live as long as I would have without gear? Maybe not, but do I want to live to be 100? No, I don't want to be 100 years old. Not unless I could have like a young body that could take my brain out. Or you guys watch Altered Carbon on Netflix at all? It's a sci-fi show, and in the world of that show, the wealthy people live forever. They just have something called a stack that has all their memories and feelings and all that. It's stored. It's almost like a hard drive or something. And it's implanted, and they just replace it. They get new bodies over and over again, over centuries basically. So they live forever, and they always have a fresh, young, hot body instead of an aging, decrepit body. Man, what was I talking about? Oh, I want to talk about the upsides to going back to the gym whenever that is. And like I said, for some of you guys, it's going to be pretty soon. You're welcome, Joe. First of all, we're going to have to obviously be very, very careful when we go back to the gyms. Gym owners, haven't seen it, but I've heard the idea. Talk about it for you. Yeah. General butt naked. I don't think that's so crazy. I think within the next 50 years, I bet that technology will be available. Maybe it's actually ready now. Who knows? But I think within our lifetime, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if I'm going to live that long. But within the next 30 to 50 years, I bet the technology will exist where your consciousness can be transferred into another body somehow. I don't think it's going to be like a brain, take out your brain and put your brain in another body. I think it's just going to be some sort of a download thing, which I've seen in different movies, different TV shows. So yeah, when we go back to the gyms, it's creepy. It is creepy, but death is creepy. I mean, what happens when you die? I don't know. Do you know? That's scary. I mean, what if it's just, there's nothing? What if you just end? You just blink out. That's crazy. Chappie, it's in a lot of movies. It's a fairly common theme. So definitely it's something a lot of people, because we all fear death, or at least most people do. Immortality. Trump, oh, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going into politics. No. I'll talk about religion before I'll talk about politics. So when we go back to the gyms I'm sure are going to be under very, very strict state guidelines, federal guidelines. Well, Joe, if you love them, you love them. If you hate them, you hate them. You know, we all have our own opinion. I mean, if he's instrumental in getting the gyms back open, that's 10 points for Trump in my book that he didn't have before. So the gym owners are going to have to make sure everybody observes all these things. We're probably going to have to space each other apart. You can't get on the cardio machine next to somebody. You can't get on the bench next to somebody. Everyone's going to have to cooperate instead of being our typical keeping to ourselves and avoiding eye contact. We're all going to have to cooperate in the gyms to keep our 6 feet social distance. We're probably going to have to wear masks, which is, you know, it's going to be a little inconvenient, but a lot of you guys are wearing masks everywhere you go now anyway. I mean, it's you got to do what you got to do to not spread this virus and catch this virus. We're going to have to spray down everything, disinfect everything we touch before we touch it, just in case somebody else wasn't being as hygienic as they should have. We're going to have to wipe it down after so the next person doesn't catch a virus if we had it. People are going to have to definitely wash their hands like crazy, especially after they've used the restroom, which I see so many people in public restrooms, even in my gym's restrooms. They'll take a piss with their dick in their hand and walk, shake it off, flush toilet, walk right back out on the gym floor. I'm like, you pig. Worse, I've seen people come out of stalls. They've just destroyed that stall. It smells like there's a poop bomb went off in there. You can smell it from 10 feet away, 12 feet away. And they walk straight out to the gym floor with those hands. They have just wiped their ass, and they're going and grabbing the dumbbells and barbells and hammer strength handles and all that. It's disgusting. But, you know, in the past, people might have been afraid to say anything like, well, I want to say something, but yeah, general buttoning. I'm afraid. Well, no one's going to be afraid to call people out anymore. It's going to be like, if anyone sees anyone from now on using the bathroom, going to the bathroom and not washing their hands, no matter where it is, they're going to call them out on it. You can guarantee it. Craig's dad from Friday, yeah, he destroyed that bathroom. What did he say? Don't go in there for 40 minutes to an hour or something. What was his phrase? That was a good movie. Yeah. Another upside to the gyms being closed is because we've been away from all this cool equipment that we love and we use so much, all these different things that we took for granted and our bodies got used to, it's all going to be brand new to your muscles again. If you haven't done, let's say you haven't trained legs in 3 months, which by the time we get back to the gym, it might be it'll be at least 2 months, maybe closer to 3 since I've had a real leg workout. I don't have any set up here to do leg curls. I'm not doing with a band. I don't care. I'm doing calves off a step, but like I said, for quads, like once a week, I'll do some dumbbell squats with the 70s, 3-4 sets of 20 reps, nothing major. That's only 140 pounds resistance. So you go from that to getting back to a leg press, a hack squat, a squat rack, leg extension, seated leg curl, lying leg curl, standing leg curl. Whew. Are super heavyweight bodybuilders worried about losing muscle? I think any bodybuilder is always concerned with losing their hashtag gains with a Z. You know, we work so hard to build this muscle, even if you're on drugs, which, you know, if you're a super heavyweight bodybuilder, you're probably on a good amount of drugs because that means you're in contest condition at 225 pounds or over. And that's naturally, there's not many people that can hold that kind of muscle. But I think every bodybuilder is concerned about losing muscle, especially the bodybuilders out there who don't have any access to much equipment. There are definitely some people, and you see them posting on social media, they're in full gyms, private gyms with everything you could possibly need. So they're not skipping a beat. It's really, they're missing nothing except maybe the atmosphere and a little bit more variety of equipment in their usual big commercial gym. But they're still training and they're not losing any muscle. You can actually maintain your muscle with a lot less than you think. For example, like I said, all I have is 3 sets of dumbbells. That's it. I'm not really training legs. For back, I have a chin-up bar, but I can't do chin-ups for shit, guys. This shoulder is destroyed. I need a shoulder replacement. I don't know when I'm going to ever get it done. But there's like no stability there to do chin-ups. So my chin-ups suck. Even with the band assisted, they suck. So I'm basically just doing a lot of dumbbell rows, different grips, trying out different angles, pulling out more to the side, underhand, just coming up with a lot of weird variations on dumbbell rows. And that's keeping my gains. I can't really press overhead because, again, the shoulder, wham, wham, wham. Somebody called me a wambulance. I can't press, but I can still do all kinds of laterals. I can press light. With the machine, I can press heavier, but I don't have any machines, obviously. Those are at the gym. But I have found, and I think a lot of people, a lot of bodybuilders now are finding they can maintain their muscle mass a lot easier and with less weight than what they would have thought possible. How long can they do that for? I don't know. You know, this quarantine's only been going on now for, I think we're like in the 5th week, something like that, right? So maybe by 10, 15 weeks in, most of us, with the limited equipment and without a lot of heavy resistance at our disposal, we probably might start seeing muscle loss. But, you know, I don't foresee it going on that much longer. Like I said, some people are going to be back in the gym in 10 or 11 days, it looks like. A month or so. Yeah, I think generally speaking, it's going to be about a month, mid-May. Why is my shoulder not functioning properly? So I've had arthritis in both shoulders for at least 15 years. The left was a lot worse than the right. There was no cartilage. I wore out the cartilage, which is in between the joint. It's sort of the cushion between the joints. So I wore that out. It was bone on bone, just bone grinding on bone, very painful. It got to the point in 2011 where it was so painful and so limiting my training so much, I went to an orthopedic surgeon and I got an operation done called a decompression, where it's arthroscopic and they go in, they cut you. Let's have a couple little tiny scars. They go in there and they scrape out under the acromion. They scrape out more room for everything to move around, so it's not bone on bone. But that was a temporary thing. It gave me about 2 or 3 more years of not pain-free. It was still hurting, but I was able to keep pressing heavy. I could even do heavy shoulder presses with dumbbells, which were always a strong lift for me. But after a couple years, after about 3, 4 years, it started getting really bad again. And I went and had X-rays and MRIs done last year, saw another orthopedic surgeon, and he said, "You're an excellent candidate for replacement." Replacement would give me, would take a lot of the pain away. As far as ever allowing me to be able to do what I used to do with the presses, nobody I've ever talked to who had a shoulder replacement said they were ever able to get back to full strength on that shoulder. So it's pain, and I can live with pain. Pain don't hurt. That was a line from Roadhouse. That was Dalton, the Patrick Swayze character. Lifting too heavy. Yeah, Joker. I mean, I lifted heavy. I started training when I was 14 years old. I'm 50 now, so that's 36 years of training. It's a lot of wear and tear on the joints. A lot of our joints, the connective tissues, they take a beating. Areas like the elbows. Think about how often and how many things you use your elbows for in almost every exercise. Your shoulders, everything you do for our upper body, your shoulders are involved. So your shoulder joints are constantly doing. For me, it probably was a lot of the heavy pressing. I used to do a lot, especially in my 20s. I was very obsessed with getting stronger. I always wanted to be bigger, but being in my 20s, like most guys. Oh, thank you, Journal Butt Naked. In my 20s, I really wanted to be strong. I was very competitive, very, very competitive with everyone else in the gym, especially all the other young guys. Every young guy wants to outlift all the other young guys. So I would train so heavy that I could only get like 2 or 3 reps. Shoulder rebuilt twice. Yeah. Post that again because I didn't quite see that. It's gone now. Were horny with my friends at 14? No. I wasn't muscular at 14. 14 is when I started training. I was 90 pounds. I was just starting puberty, really. I was kind of a late bloomer with that. So no, I wasn't any hornier than my friends then. I think I'm hornier than most 50-year-olds now. The extra testosterone certainly contributes to that. But where was I? The shoulder. So anyway, your joints just take a beating. They take a pounding with all the heavy training. And I would do things like heavy dumbbells were my thing. Few of the things I think back to are probably, and I think back and I think that's probably where my shoulders shit right now. I used to do 140s, 150s. A couple times I even tried 160s for flat and incline dumbbell presses. 130s was about as much as I could realistically do without harming myself. I could get like a good eight reps on my own with that. Once I went into the 140s and 150s, I needed a spotter, and they were helping. And I used to do dips with weight added on, and I would do 2 plates all the time for good reps, but that wasn't good enough because I wanted to really be a show off and really be king shit of the gym. So I would do 3 plates for a few crappy reps, 4 plates sometimes. So that's 45. That's 180 pounds strapped onto me. Yeah, nobody's shoulder is going to last too long when they're doing that. For the people that are still training very heavy, that are my age or close to it, they're very, very lucky. They don't realize how lucky they are. If you've been training for many years and you've never been hurt, maybe it's not all luck. Reps I did with 2 plates, Joe. Dips, 2 plates. I used to do like 12, 15 reps with that. Yeah. When I was very light, when I was in high school and I only started high school at 90 pounds, graduated at 130. So 40 pounds over 4 years. Nothing groundbreaking. But I used to do chin-ups, push-ups, dips, anything body weight I could fly through. Push-ups, I used to knock out 100 push-ups at a time. I didn't weigh anything. On the bench, my rep range. Bench, I was never a great bench presser. I can't even tell you. People say, what's the most you ever benched? I'll say 405 for 8, but somebody was spotting me, and I don't know how much they were helping. They might have been lifting 100 pounds for me. I don't know. The most I ever did on my own with a flat barbell was like 315 for 8, 10. I guess I got 10. I got 10 with that. For reps on 2 plates, I never tried to rep out on the bench. No, I was never, I did certain things I wanted to be stronger at. Like, I was never good at full deadlifts. Oh, what's up, Australia? My son-in-law, Musa, is from Sydney. He's from the Punch Bowl in Sydney, if you know where that is. Yeah, my daughter's been back there. They're married almost 4 years. She's been there twice. I've yet to go. Yeah, so what did I used to do? Sorry, guys. Yeah, I was never great at deadlifts from the floor, but I used to do those rack deadlifts from just below the kneecap up. It's a half rep. You're just doing the top half of the rep, so it's nothing to brag about, even if you're very strong at it, I guess, because it's not a full deadlift. But I used to do 6 plates, 7 plates. 7 plates I did many times. I would get like 8, 10 reps. But that was a half rep from just below the knees to lockout. Probably wasn't the greatest thing for my lower back. Squats, I was a moron with squats. I was very good at squats. But I should have stuck with weights that I could handle myself, didn't need a spotter, and could get more than a few reps with. But being a stupid egomaniac kid, of course, my late 20s is when I started gear, and that's when I got really stupid with the squats. I never did more than, on my own, good reps to below parallel 405. Bonjour, France, or is it nighttime? I don't know. It's probably nighttime over there by now. Yeah, it is actually. If it's 4 here, what is it, like 8 or 9 o'clock at night already? I don't know how to say. Buenas noches is Spanish. So, 405 on my own I did many times, but being a dumb ego lifter, I did 5 plates, 6 plates, 7 plates for like a rep or 2 with somebody spotting me. My 10 p.m., wow. My heaviest squat, and I can't claim this as like an official lift by any means, guys. So I'm not trying to brag because it's not to brag about. It wasn't a real rep. 725. I did 7 45s and a 25 for a couple reps. But it was just stupid. Yeah. But it was dumb. I didn't need that. I built the majority of my leg mass with reps. At least 8, sometimes more, like time under tension principle. I believe in time under tension. I believe greatly in it because if you're not focusing on time under tension and putting the muscle under tension, you're not really a bodybuilder. You're not working the muscle. You're just lifting a weight. When he says the best rep range, it really ties into time under tension. So if I say that 10 reps is better than 2 reps for building muscle mass, it's because the muscle is under tension longer. It's not the actual number of the rep. It's the length of time it takes to complete those repetitions. So 3 reps versus 12 reps, that's 400% more time under tension. I don't believe you need to keep the muscle under tension for long periods. That's why we don't typically do more than 15 reps for the upper body, or 20 at the very most. Most of the time we're going to stay in between 10 and 15, I think, is a really good range for most people. And if you can get stronger in that rep range. So if you're bench pressing 225 for 10 reps today, and 6 months ago, drop sets, you got to be careful with drop sets, because intensity techniques, if you use them all the time, your body gets very used to them and they're not really effective anymore. So that's why you got to be careful. But like I said, if you're benching 225 for 10 reps today, and a year from now you're doing 315, you've added 90 pounds, same set, same amount of reps, but the weight is higher, you're definitely going to see bigger chest, bigger front delts, bigger triceps. So I believe in time under tension. Very, very important principle. The reps really are just a representation of the time under tension. So it's easy to get them confused. Legs seem to need more time under tension to respond with muscle growth than the upper body muscles. So that's why we do higher reps for the legs. You guys want to try something for legs back when, squats, 20 rep squats. One of the toughest things you will ever do for your legs, if you can get through it, is 10 sets of 20 reps on a squat. Just pick a weight. It doesn't have to be very heavy. Say you can normally, say your max squat is 315 for 10. I'm just throwing a number out there. Okay, so let's take 185, 20 reps. It's hard because your legs are burning. But still, a couple sets with that, and you'll be like, that wasn't so bad. You're only going to rest about 2 minutes between sets. By the time you get to like the 5th or 6th set, you'll be hating life. You'll be like, man, you'll want to take some weight off the bar, because in the first couple sets, anytime you're doing multiple sets with the same weight and you're limiting your rest periods, it's kind of a trap, because in the beginning you think, I didn't go heavy enough. I should have picked a heavier weight. But as you get about halfway to where you need to be, you'll realize, this weight was actually perfect. And as you get toward the end, you'll be like, wow, what was I thinking? I can't believe I even for a minute was entertaining the thought of going heavier on this for all these sets with very little rest, because you'll be dying trying to finish those. So if you want to kill your legs, 100 reps of squats. I'm sorry, that would be 200 reps. To be full disclosure, I never did 10 sets of 20. 5 sets with 20 killed me. 5 sets of 20 reps on squats will kill most people. If you're someone who has great endurance, you're in awesome shape and you're young, you can probably get to 10 sets of 20. Another thing is like 50 rep sets on the leg press. It's constant tension. You don't rest. Keep moving up and down like a piston. By the time you get to the 25 or 30 reps, the burn really starts setting in. By the time you get to like 35, you'll feel like your lungs are going to burst out of your chest. Your legs feel like there's battery acid poured into them. And man, it's rough. So legs seem to respond to higher reps and being under tension a lot longer. I believe it's because of the muscle fiber makeup. Legs do have more slow twitch muscle fiber, so they do seem to respond better to high reps as opposed to the upper body. But even the upper body, I don't like to see bodybuilders doing, what's that say, 3 exercises, 3 sets of failure. 3 exercises, 3 sets to failure. No, that's not too much. This whole volume thing, I think people get it twisted. Is high volume the best? Is low volume the best? We all seem to have varying degrees of how we respond to it. I know people that if they try higher volume, if they do like 20 sets per body part, if they train more than 3 days a week, they overtrain and they get sick and they start losing weight. Other people, if they did that, it wouldn't be enough for them. They wouldn't respond. There are people that thrive on high volume and they get the best results from high volume. You don't know where you fall until you try. It does seem to be that people who have a strong athletic background in sports that were very demanding, had long, grueling practices like football, wrestling, hockey, basketball, anything where they were used to long practices every day and a lot of work, a high volume of workload. Those people, when they move into bodybuilding, seem to do better with volume, like Ronnie Coleman. Total of 9 sets in each to failure. I believe in taking all my sets to failure. That's just me. You can go just shy of failure on most of your sets, but I'd rather just go to failure. I'm pretty on point with my nutrition and my sleep and everything. Dude, every day I get this question. Who's my favorite bodybuilder of all time? Flex Wheeler. DC training, I did it for a few years. I thought it was great. Thought it was great. I just couldn't keep progressing with it due to injuries, but I would do it. Dante Trudell, I believe he's one of the unsung heroes of the industry. Very generous with his information and his expertise. For a while on his Instagram, he was basically writing articles every day, really informative, eye-opening stuff, free of charge. He coached me personally, wrote up workouts and things for me for a time. Thank him so much. He's a really cool guy. Originally from Massachusetts, Dante, big dude, very smart guy. And he believed in progressive overload and getting stronger. Stronger muscle is a bigger muscle, and I do believe that works. And most of you aren't old enough or haven't been training long enough where it's a concern that you're not gonna get stronger anymore. But there is going to come a point for everybody where you're just not going to get any stronger, or it's going to be infinitesimal increases. Otherwise we would all be bench pressing 1,000 pounds and squatting 2,000 pounds if we could all get stronger forever and ever. But there does come a time, and age plays a part. Injuries play a role in that, of course. Where you're just not going to get any bigger and stronger. We all have a point where that's our limit. Most people, I don't think, are dedicated enough to the training and the rest and the nutrition, and drugs certainly play a role in hitting your ultimate potential. You'll have a natural potential, and then there's a potential that's beyond that you can achieve only if you add drugs into the equation. But there is going to be a point for just about everybody eventually where you can't get any stronger. So that's when you look into higher reps, you look into supersets, you try to find other ways to stress the muscle without using any additional weight, because you can't. Or in a lot of cases, you're going to be injured. You'll have arthritis. A lot of you guys are going to get arthritis. Did I ever use chains? No. It's nothing personal. I don't want to haul chains around, and for what? Because that's more for strength, and I don't care. Creatine is one of the few supplements that has a mountain of evidence and clinical trials, and there's all kinds of proof that creatine is effective at increasing muscle endurance, strength, power. It volumizes the muscle cells so it retains more water, so you gain water weight, but it's water inside the muscle, so the muscle's fuller, not a puffy water weight gain like you see with, Dianabol or something, or even if you eat a real salty meal like Chinese food, and that'll get you all puffy too. But or a nice pizza, a nice pepperoni pizza would be good right about now. So yeah, DC training, highly recommend it. I think everybody should try to get stronger in the rep ranges for bodybuilding. I don't want to say I don't approve, because that sounds like, who am I to approve or disapprove? But when I see bodybuilders training like powerlifters, like some people that consider themselves bodybuilders, but I see them, they'll have a whole day where all they do is deadlift, and they're resting like 5-10 minutes between sets, and they're doing like 1, 2, 3 reps on deadlifts over and over again for like an hour, and then they leave. And a lot of these people, they don't have a lot of muscle mass. If they walk by me on the street in a tank top, I wouldn't even know they worked out, really. I know I'm sounding like a dick, but it's true. Since I got you a captive audience here, last thing I'll talk about has nothing to do with what we're talking about, is I saw a woman that I follow, a local woman. Women will post these like text message exchanges between guys who are trying to hit on them and themselves. And a lot of times, if they'll ask a guy how tall he is, and if they find out he's not as tall as what their minimum is, which a lot of women, it's 6 foot, they'll laugh at him, they'll make fun of him. And I just want to call them out on that, because that's not cool. Because if I call out a woman for being fat or old or ugly, I'm a dick, I'm an asshole. But if you're overweight, if you're anybody, a woman or a man, you're overweight, you could change that. You could eat better, you could eat less, you could work out, you could lose the weight. If you're short, you can't do anything about that. That's just the way God made you. So, but like I said, if a man makes fun of a woman's weight, or her says she's not pretty or whatever, says she's flat chested, he gets slammed. But if women all get together on social media or whatever and say a guy's short, man, they think it's cool, they think it's funny, they all like high five each other basically. And, I guess I'm a little sensitive to it because I'm only 5'7.5" now. I used to be 5'8.5", which wasn't that tall. Had I not weight trained, I probably would have been taller. I have a younger brother that was 6'2.5" at his height. Flexing is so exhausting. That's a weird question. I can't even answer that. Sorry, guys. Some of your questions are just bizarre. Sorry. Sorry I had that little rant at the end, but I mean, I covered everything I wanted to cover. I've been doing this for 45 minutes, guys. I appreciate you all watching. I hope the weather is nice wherever you guys are. I hope the gyms open up soon. I hope we all observe the precautions so we don't have this huge second wave of infections. I just hope the best for all of us. I hope we all anyone that's out of work, I hope you all get back to work, get that money coming back in, pay the bills, I just want the world to get back to normal like you guys, man. This is craziest thing any of us have ever lived through, except for some of you who have actually lived through things like war and famine. But for the rest of us, this is the toughest thing we've ever lived through, the most life-changing event. We're all going to remember this till the day we die. I guarantee you. Hey, remember coronavirus? 20 years from now, 30 years from now, people say, remember that coronavirus? Remember how we all had to stay indoors for 2 months and 3 months and all the businesses shut down and everyone's out of work? Remember that? Yeah, that was crazy. So let's hope it's over as soon as possible and, lose as few lives as possible. Joe, last question. How many times Flex should have won the Olympia? At least once. Joker, good night. Go to bed. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your day, evening, wherever you are. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time.